Are there different styles of leadership that we need to be able to use?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think they're driven. There's a fantastically simple model called situational leadership, which really looks at this in depth. And I guess the answer is yes, because it'll depend on the nature of the tasks we're asking people to perform and the people we've got in our teams. So whether those people are employees or whether they are other stakeholders that are working with us as a small business, we need to understand A, the complexity of the task, and B, their ability to actually perform it. So we tend to look at really four kind of distinct styles. One, there are times when you probably need to be quite directive as a leader. So for example, if the building's on fire, you don't have a meeting to consult on it. You just say, get out the door and meet you downstairs. And you know, the world is full of stories where people weren't really prepared to do that kind of thing when the fire broke out. But directive leadership, and then there's a kind of consultative leadership where you do listen to people, you ask people for their opinions, you listen to those opinions, and you take those into account when you're making decisions. I guess we look at a sort of coaching leadership, which is where you are working perhaps with more experienced people, more knowledgeable people, and you are literally helping them find the solutions to their problems rather than you telling them kind of what to do.
Yeah.
And then I suppose the fourth one is delegative leadership. So you get to the point where you've got a team around you, you totally trust them in terms of their capability and their commitment, and you really just agree the tasks with them and let them manage themselves. And it's like a journey, really. If you think of it the way I've described it, quite often when a new person starts working with you, you have to be directive because they don't know things. Yeah. You probably can't even say, nip down and see Polly because she'll help you with that, because they don't even know who Polly is or where she sits or what she does. But hopefully you gradually go through that journey so that eventually, maybe 6 months later, you're confident to delegate. But what we find is managers, there are very few who can use all four of those styles really, really well. Maybe they can use one because that's their preferred.
Yeah.
And maybe they can even get two. But it's really part of development, isn't it? Is recognizing which ones you're maybe not so good at and then learning about them, practicing them and behaving in that way. And it is lots about behavior, isn't it? It's not even about skill, it's about behavior.
I suppose it's quite difficult when you're first starting out and building your team. I think team meetings as well, even when you're small, is good, isn't it, for communication? Yeah.
Because I know you're going to ask me about the leadership skills involved in being able to do all this. And you know, the one you've just hit on is critical, isn't it? You have to be an effective communicator. But not only an effective communicator, a person who's actually willing to communicate, recognizes how important it is that people understand and have access to information. And I think it's quite interesting, particularly with a small business, and having been a small business owner myself, and I still am, is sometimes there's a reluctance to share some information, particularly about things like money and profitability and that kind of stuff. And I happen to be a great believer that not only do we need to be effective communicators, we need to be comfortable communicators, that we are prepared to be transparent with those people who work with us. And yes, you're right, whether it's meetings as in formal meetings, whether it's regular one-to-ones, I guess we often talk about leaders needing to be visible so that you're around, you're available to people, you encourage a two-way dialogue, not the old kind of traditional thing of, you know, I'm the boss, I'm a director, and I don't speak to anyone unless they're another director or boss kind of thing, which is crazy. But some of the other core skills, I think, are the ability to kind of see the bigger picture, stay focused, be a good planner, because really you shouldn't be almost always doing the doing. You should be spending at least some time thinking ahead and planning. The ability to communicate, and you know, back to a behavioural one, really, I suppose. Recruiting the right people and trusting them.
Yeah,
Not trying to do
that's
their
the
job for
difficult
them.
one, that, isn't it? When you're
Yeah.
first starting out, trusting people.
Yeah.
I think you can get in the mindset of, well, I can just do it quicker, I'll just do it myself,
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
trying to teach somebody how to do it.
Absolutely.
That's a difficult one.
And all of those things they get in the way, don't they? Because the old saying of working too much in the business and not on the business.
Yeah.
If you employ somebody to do a job, then you've got to get confident that they can do it and then allow them to do it. Otherwise, you'll have lots of busy days, but you won't have actually moved the business forward.
Yes, that's definitely. I think then there's the difficulty of micromanaging people then, isn't there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're doing that, you're not doing what you should be doing, which is leading the business. Easier said than done, Polly, sometimes.